What's up, guys? This is one part of a five-part series of my first reaction to the legendary psychedelic rock album The Doors, released in 1967. What I'll be trying to do is explore the themes and the music as I hear them as I go along these tracks. Hope you guys enjoy. Here we go, the final part, part 5, straight on from the last track, which was I Looked at You. This is End of the Night. Sounds very psychedelic.
Take the highway to the end of the night, end of the night, end of the night. Take a journey to the bright midnight, end of the night, end of the night.
Super interesting. Once again, as the theme we've discussed many times throughout this series is night and day cycles, and the night being a place where the darker parts of Morrison can come out to play. And here we are again, the same thing. He's looking forward to taking this journey to the bright midnight. The midnight sort of represents something in his mind, you know. It's like the werewolf kind of thing, you know. When the moon comes out, he becomes another person, and he can release that beast. Back this up.
End of the night, realms of bliss, realms of light.
Very psychedelic.
Some are born to sweet delight, some are born to sweet delight, some are born to the endless night.
Really interesting. He is kind of making a distinction between people, right? Some are born to sweet delight, some are born to endless night. Realms of bliss, realms of light. Wow. Okay. So what I'm kind of getting from the imagery here, right, is there are people who live in the light. You know, he spoke about that in one of the other tracks, that when other people are sleeping, he's out on the prowl at midnight. I think it was Backdoor Man. And same issue, not same issue, but same kind of ideas being presented here. Realms of bliss, realms of light. So the light is where the good side of people, good people exist. But he is a sinner, or he is has a beast within him, and he was born to endless night. Interesting. Maybe this is a sort of prelude to the end, right? We're kind of building up to what would be the finale, the final track, the finale.
End of the night, end of the night, end of the night, end of the
It's a very dreamy sounding song. Is it a nightmare? Is it a dream? Is it a fantasy? Is it a trip that he's on?
realms of bliss, realms of light. Some are born to sweet delight, some are born to sweet delight.
I love it when he does that.
Born to the endless night, end of the night.
He's making a observation about himself, right? He is other. He is one of the different people. Some are born to sweet delight. Some are born to endless night. There's a calling within him which looks forward to the isolation of the night or the demons that can come out and play at night. And he exists in that other group. Some are born to the endless night. Great way to phrase the sort of feeling of how you can belong as an outcast in society, essentially. The end of the dream.
Time to live, time to love, time to laugh, time to die. Take it easy, baby, take it as it comes. Don't move too fast, then you want your love to last. Are you been moving as you fast? Time to walk, time to run, time to aim.
It really does feel as if we're ramping up to something. You know, the ending of the album is upcoming. The lyrics, the moods that are being presented, especially the simmering vibes of the last track, we're kind of building towards the end of the trip.
Your arrows at the sun. Take it easy, baby. Take it as it comes. Don't move too fast. And you want your love to last. Are you the moving much too fast?
There goes those fairground vibes again. Is it joyful? Is it sinister? Is it both together? Great bass line to this thing.
Go real slow. You like it more and more. Take it as it comes. Specialize in having fun. Take it easy, baby. Take it as it comes.
Where I kind of picture this in the album, right? He's kind of describing this character, this girl who is living this fast life. But I think it's like a representation of the people he is running into in the lifestyle he is living, of kind of pretending to live a normal life in the daytime and then at the nighttime prowling around looking for girls. So these are the type of girls he's bumping into, who are also on this track to the end, you know, on a fast track to disaster, just like he is. And so they are a reflection of him. They live to lie, time to live, to lie, to laugh, to die. This is the sort of life he's living too. These girls are caught up in this tragedy, just like he is. Really interesting.
Don't move too fast. Where you want your love to last. Are you been moving much too fast? Moving much too fast. Moving much too fast.
Wow. Great way to kind of segue into the final track of the album, where we have this incredibly intense song. It sounds kind of similar to some of the other songs in the album so far, I will say that, with those organ-like keys from Manzarek. And as usual, the real star and the presence of the tracks is always there with Morrison. Morrison brings the performance in every song, and the performance of this one was kind of similar to maybe like Light My Fire or Break On Through to the Other Side. He's like in this drunken psychedelic state, this sexual vibe. He's also able to bridge the boundaries between, I said it in the first track, you know, he's mercurial, he's ambiguous, he's doing all of these things at once. So here we are to the final door, you know, if we could call the band The Doors, the album is The Doors. This is the final door, the final scene of the album. He's living this fast life. He seems to be on a fast track to something tragic happening, and here we go. This is the end. Great way to set this scene of a final dance. A shamanistic shakers being played in the back. The beginning of the trip.
This is the end, beautiful friend. This is the end, my only friend, the end
The voice of God.
of our elaborate plans, the end of everything that stands, the end, no safety or surprise, the end, I'll never look into your eyes again.
Has there ever been a song that's more brilliantly fitting to be played in a movie? You know, this was used in Apocalypse Now, of course. I spoke about this in my track review that I did when I heard it for the first time, but it's just so perfect. The vibe, the atmosphere being set, it's simmering right now. Something sinister is brewing, something climactic is brewing. I caught this line this time, which I didn't last time. It was, of our elaborate plans, the end. You know, there's that phrase where, like, you know, one way to make God laugh, tell him about your plans. You know, it's kind of fitting here, right? It kind of fits here too. Of our elaborate plans, the end. You know, if he is the voice of God, you know, he finds it hilarious that you have plans for yourself. I feel like he's almost playing the Grim Reaper here, and he is talking to Jim, the actual human. So he is playing the part of the Reaper here. He's letting Jim Morrison know he has come to the end.
Can you picture what will be so limitless and free, desperately in need of some stranger's hand in a desperate land?
John doesn't. The choice of the sounds as well. Doesn't that guitar sound so Eastern? It sounds mystical. Those drums sound like it belongs on a dal, I think they're called a dul from the Indian subcontinent. You know, it sounds Eastern, mystical. See?
Lord,
The keys as well are subtle. They're always playing. Sometimes there's a gap in the other instruments and it can come through. And it adds like this kind of spiritual vibe to it as well. Again, is he playing the Grim Reaper? Perhaps. That's my interpretation. Could he be playing a shaman? That too. That works as well. A shaman for this trip.
lost in a romance,
Backed it up a little bit.
lost in a romance, wilderness of pain, and all the children are insane. All the children are insane, waiting for the summer rain. Yeah.
Such a cool vibe, man. It's unbelievable.
There's danger on the edge of town.
Now, on the first listen, these are the two verses that confused me the most. So I'm curious if I can catch something on this one. Where is he right now? Lost in a Roman wilderness of pain, and all the children are insane. In my interpretation of him being the Grim Reaper, it kind of fits. The danger on the edge of town, ride the king's highway, baby. So this to me, especially when he says Roman wilderness of pain, it's like if the Grim Reaper was speaking, this is someone who has seen the sort of full extent of history. So these callbacks to the King's Highway and Roman wilderness, it at least fits in my story or interpretation of this song being the Grim Reaper.
Ride the King's Highway, baby.
Again, it's got a very sexual undertone to
With
it.
scenes inside the gold mine. Ride the highway west, baby. Ride the snake. Ride the snake to the lake.
Is it spiritual?
The ancient lake.
Is it sexual?
The snake is long.
Certainly psychedelic.
7 miles. Ride the snake. He's old and his skin is cold.
You know, in a lot of Central American culture, the snake is a huge sort of image, a reoccurring image that exists in a lot of their gods. And certainly one of the main gods of the Mayans or the Aztecs, I can't remember now, is represented through a snake, a serpent, who is sort of your the bringer of death, essentially. So is he referring to that? Because I know Morrison was a person who was connected to like indigenous people of America. So, I mean, is he pulling from that mythology? I'm not too sure.
The West is the best. The West is the best. Get here and we'll do the rest. The blue bus is calling us. The blue bus is calling us.
Again,
Driver, where you taking us?
this was one of the parts of the track that I didn't understand. This fits into more of the psychedelic imagery, the idea of this song being a trip. The blue bus is taking us somewhere. The driver, being the drug, is taking us somewhere.
The killer awoke before dawn. He put his boots on. He took a face from the ancient gallery and he walked on down the hall.
This is a really trippy part of the song.
He went into the room where his sister lived and then he paid a visit to his brother and then he walked on down the hall and he came to a door and he looked inside.
Okay, I didn't catch this the first time, right? The name The Doors is a shout out to Aldous Huxley, you know, the Doors of Perception, that book about sort of psychedelic drugs and their effects. You know, he came to a door, this track being the end. Is this the final moment of the trip where the doors, you are at the doors of perception now and it's about to open, and what you're about to see, you know, the father and the mother being represented. You know, the father usually in religious imagery is like God, and the mother being Mother Earth. I kind of caught it this time. I didn't catch it the last time. Is this what he means? We come to a door and it opens up finally, and you get to look inside, and you might not like what you see.
Father, yes, son, I want to kill you. Mother, I want to.
That shriek. I love it when he does that. He just loses control. Those are some of the best moments in this album. Talk about an Oedipus complex, right? I think that's what's going on here.
Come on, baby, take a chance with us. Come on, baby, take a chance with us. Come on, baby, take a chance with us and meet me at the back of the blue bus. Do not blue rock on that blue bus. Do not. Come on, yeah. Come on, baby. Yeah. Yeah. Come on, baby. Yeah. Come on. Yeah. All right.
Once again, the connection between drugs, sex, and murder. I've said it in one of the very, very early tracks. I can't remember exactly which it was. Maybe it was Alabama Song, Whiskey Bar, when he was talking about drinking and murder existed together. It's like the drinking allows these or the drugs allow these darker parts of him to come up. And here we are again. Sexuality. I mean, talking about his mother. Psychedelic atmosphere of the song, and then murder. They all exist together. They all blend into one another. Only Morrison can pull it off.
This is the end. Beautiful friend.
The cyclic nature, it comes back once again.
This is the end. My only friend, the end. It hurts to set you free, but you'll never follow me. The end of laughter and soft light. The end of nights we try to die. This is the end.
What a journey it's been. Fantastic way to end an album. That is how you wrap up an album. The themes, the sounds, everything wrapped up all and existing within one track. You know, so many highlights to talk about. I was super blown away by the intro track, Break On Through to the Other Side. That was a fantastic way to get this thing started. And this idea of light and dark existing throughout the thing, night and day, I should say, more than light and dark, it was night and day, with the night representing Morrison's ability to let out the beast that is within him and his longing for the night constantly, because he seems to be sort of a mix between a drunk murderer, psychedelic astronaut slash deviant, you know, like all of it together that existed in him. And it's, don't get me wrong, it's still profound, it's still poetic. There's always that aspect of Morrison that's throughout the thing. And really, I can see how this thing would set up the doors for a successful career, because, dude, 67, who was making music like this? This is really the beginning of like psychedelic music taking hold. I know that, I think in 66 or 67, you had the Beatles dropping Sgt. Pepper's too. So they were all kind of coming together, and Hendrix coming out, and these bands experimenting with acid, etc., were leading to this wave of psychedelic music. But I can totally see how this album would cement the doors as real, like, bearers of the flag for psychedelic rock. Just rock music in general, man. This is just a fantastic album. The musicality was brilliant. Ray Manzarek's genius. Bobby Krieger's doing fantastic things. Durzen always backing everything up. And them setting the scenes or the backdrops as directors for the performances of Jim Morrison, who plays the actor, who is the actor in a lot of these things. He puts on this persona, and it's a fantastic one at that. Brilliant. I also love the fact that it's quite straightforward. It's not too long, and it says what it has to say. There's maybe one or two tracks that maybe can be taken out. You know, one of my least favorite ones was, I think it was I Looked At You, maybe, or what? Yeah, one of those tracks were not as strong. But all in all, out of the 11 tracks, I'd say, you know, half of them, or 6 or 7 of them, were fantastic, with 1 or 2 okay and 1 kind of dragging. So all in all, this is like a straight, let's give it a good 9 out of 10, dude. This is fantastic. Great journey, and I'm glad you guys joined me. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I believe the next album that I'll be covering will be Rolling Stones one, so you guys can look forward to that.